I want to talk about what's going on in our world, my world, the world. It's a synthetic world, so there's a lot to unpack with that statement. It's a synthetic world. It's created world. It's synthetic. What we see is not what we get. What we see is not what we get. That's not exactly a fair description, but it's funny when people talk about physical science and light. And I was reading about that when I was about 10 years old. I got whatever I could get on that topic, and I tried to study it. I just couldn't, I couldn't understand the math. I just couldn't swallow the concept. I didn't agree with it. I thought it was completely just wrong, and I didn't, have the footing to really, dispute it. But it's just I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it was correct. I also found that with our archaeology and our history, the academics were really narcissistic and incorrect all the time. So I didn't have with the physics. I kind of doubted myself more than I doubted. I just said, look, I'm not going to accept this blindly, but it's just probably stuff I'm not grasping that others are grasping. But as it turns out, no, the other scientists that we don't hear about all said the same thing. And I studied it more, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, this is not right. And but the fact that it's such a garbled dialogue, that's intentional, because we live in a created world. The people who created it don't want us to understand that. That's something that's going on. And they themselves are essentially wrapped in this world too. And that's what's going on. That's the situation. That's how things are. That's why the politics and religion is very sketchy. And the complicit parties are everywhere. Hardcore. A person like me, because I'm not a trillionaire, I'm not a billionaire, I'm not a millionaire. Nobody has any concern for my opinions or my personage in any sense at all. It's like, get out of here. You don't have any cookies for me? Get out of here. And that's the world we're living in. A person like myself, raised differently with the you're supposed to credit people for the virtue of their character. But in our world, people don't do that. I'm like the only person who does that I know of. And there is maybe a pretense of that going on, but it's not actually going on. So what you see going on is like the virtue signalers get all the cookies. Everybody gives the liars the good things, and the liars have the good things. Everybody's giving them all the benefit of the doubt and whatever, all the other amenities. So they're much more inclined to support the selfish and the greedy than they are the honorable, martyrs. They really hate those people, actually, because there is this underlying conspiracy going on. So to be a conspirer is just the alignment of all the people who are doing well and all the people. To be a rational human being, they have a real spiteful animosity towards it, because that's the big conspiracy. We're trying to emburden the civilians. We're trying to have the people burdened. And it now becomes a strange thing, because we have a synthetic world where that's the push of the volition is to get the people to work without pay. That's what we're trying to get. And if you think about it, in the Bible, they have the desolation of Joseph, which the Hebrew Israelites, they were in Egypt, and then the ruling class, Pharaoh, just progressively were abusing the people, and then Moses had to bring them out of Egypt. And that's the world we're in now. We're in the same situation where the Pharaoh of the world is just enslaving the civilians, and most people aren't civil. They're just dishonest, and even, like I said, it becomes since it's a synthetic world, there's just like this alliance with exploitation. Exploiting people is what the alliance does. That's what everybody's doing as a polarity. I mean, the confusion here, it's a synthetic world. So, you want exploitation for some practical measure that the creators did. They want to be able to exploit that's actually what they're talking about, vril energy. Vril energy, people don't know or they do know. It comes from esoteric writings of biblical. It's coming from the Bible, actually, and it's a bunch of jockeying of the text, and the esotericist wants to be like in the know and want to understand, and it's the harnessing of vril. It's a bunch of hokey pokey. It really is. It's hokey pokey, and what's actually going on is there's the underlying, there's the hidden realm, and then there's the manifest material world. And when they're talking about vril, they're talking about some kind of potential value exchange, some potential value exchange of this material manifestation, this human being or this individual in this material manifestation, and their comings and doings is somehow translatable into a potential value from a different dimensional interface. So that's what they mean by harvesting vril. And it's a lot of hokey pokey. They're not going to run your car on vril, but they're going to give you hokey pokey, and they're going to get you to work for nothing, and they're going to take rob you of your wages, rob you of your liberties, and abuse. And the thing is, like, the alliance of abuse, it's the illuminated, it's the enlightened. They exploit the people all the time, and if you're good at it, then you have your securities. And this is like an unspoken reality of how things are going. So I wanted to go further with that. With that in mind, when you're out there looking in the world, you see all these characters who are ambiguously strange. And what I'm saying that is, you go to work, you do your little diligence, you get your pay, you have your upkeep and your necessities covered with the wages you have, and there's some kind of semblance of like cause and effect in rational material existence. But things aren't as they seem. So when you go to like the bookstore and you buy a book, you're thinking that this is just a material plane, and that book is just some item that was put there. But it's more strange than that. It's a synthetic book. So when you get in that book, it's not exactly the material plane that you think it is. I went to the work, I got my monies, I gave it to the clerk, he gave me the product, and there it goes. There's a whole bunch of other realities that are connected to all of that process. And there's people in the know of this. And the majority of people are in the know of this. They become, what I think is called the Rephaim, or the Nephilim, or the Edomites. Okay, in a biblical terms, it's talking about some kind of the mark of Cain. Where did Cain go? He was in a populated area. It was going to be dangerous for him. Where is he? So he's in a different dimensional interface with our world. And all these other people are in these different dimensional interfaces with the world. That's what the Rephaim is. That's what the Nephilim are. They're these other people in an interdimensional intersection that's not the same as these people or these material present people. And that's how things are actually operating. And then we have the alliances of these, is it benign? Is it malignant? These malignant, occupiers. And that's why we have such a, social justice policies are so ambiguous, but they're centered around these power structures. There are people in power, and they're demanding their power, and they're not going to obey like rational material world laws. Okay, they don't abide by Mosaic laws or civil decency or civics or any human rationality at all. They're abiding by these esoteric value systems, and most people are in alignment with different varied esoteric alignment systems. That's what's going on. And you see the political jargon is very minced, and it's very contrived, and aggregately you can see how things go. I saw someone mention it the other day, and I've mentioned it, and I want to restate it. Like the politics are too lofty for mere mortals to entertain. It's only for the special privileged esoteric class to deal with. Otherwise, we're beneath them. We can't comprehend the mystical values and the historical legal truths. That's the jargon that's being floated. And truth is to be violated. If you're just an honest civil human, the alignment is exploit that person, find exploitation, exploit that person. And they come at you like fiends. They do. They're coming all over the place.